Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of the His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. I've actually watched the first season of the HBO show, which is His Dark Materials alone, and only after watching that first season, I started reading the series, but I did not watch after the first season. I've read all the 3 books now, and I can say that this is the series which I've read the slowest this year, and also this series is something which I've been wanting to read for so many years right now. It is a sci-fi fantasy series. I cannot say that it is completely fantasy or completely sci-fi because it has the traits of both the genres put into it. I can say that the age range for this series is that it can be read by anyone who's 10 and over in age because it doesn't feel dark or explicit in any way at all. It is suitable for adults as well as children. Even in my previous videos, I've said that it is simple enough that children can read it and it will not be frustrating, and it will be complex enough that adults can put their teeth in and dig in a lot of stuff. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get into the various parts of the review right away. The 3 books in the series are Northern Lights or The Golden Compass. The second one is The Subtle Knife, and the last and final one is The Amber Spyglass. Let's start with the plot. Now, in this series, we follow 2 different main characters, and of those, the most important of all the characters is Lyra, who's a 12 to 13-year-old girl who's an orphan that lives in Jordan College, Oxford. And what happens is one day her uncle Azriel comes to visit her in the college. During that visit, there are some things which happen, and Lyra decides to leave Jordan College. There's this person named Mrs. Coulter who comes and visits the college at the same time also. Mrs. Coulter makes an offer to Lyra in order to take her along with her to London and educate her there. Lyra also goes along with Mrs. Coulter, and some things start unraveling. And in the second book, we find our second main character, who's Will. That's a boy of the almost same age, and he lives in Oxford also along with his mother, who's a bit mentally challenged because of some things which happened in their past. Now, Will and Lyra are from different worlds. Will, I can say, is from our own world where everything is really normal, and Lyra is from another world which has the same geographical resemblance, but the different thing about the world is that each and every person inside Lyra's world has a demon companion. That is, the demon is a reflection of their soul. And another unique thing about the demons is that if the person is a male, the demon is a female, and the demon is a female, and if the person is a female, the demon is a male. And there are many rules which govern the relationship between the human beings and demons in this world also. Moving on to the characters, there are a vast range of characters in this story, and each and every name of the characters is so exotic and so different to pronounce as well. Some of the main characters whom we follow throughout the series are Lyra herself and her demon Pantalaimon, and apart from her, we also have her friend Roger, who also lives in Jordan College along with Lyra, and we follow our other main character Will and his mother. There are some other people who are also associated with the Jordan College, like Lord Azriel, who's Lyra's uncle, and Mrs. Coulter, who's the very high-ranking government official that comes to Jordan College and makes an offer to Lyra and takes her to London in order to educate her. Apart from them, we also have this aeronaut named Lee Cosby, who's from Texas, and he flies helium balloons across the sky, providing means of transport. From all these other people, we also have some witches and talking animals. One of the best animals that occurs in here are the armored polar bears. Of those, the one who's most important is Yorick Bernison, who becomes Lyra's friend, and he helps her in the first book and also in different places throughout the series. Moving on to the world building, I can say that the world building is the best part about the series because the series doesn't happen just in a single world, it happens in a multiversal concept. So we have different characters who occur from different universes coming together in order to fight some things that are going to happen towards the end of the series. So it is very interesting in that way. Since I said that it is a multiverse, the same things that we experience in our world are so different in the other worlds. There is this common thing called dust, which the people focus on a lot in all the different worlds in different names, and the dust is always invisible to everyone's eyes. Just as I said before, we have animal companions called demons that live inside Lyra's world. We also have witches and their animal companions also, and there are some specific knowledge, traditions and authorities for the witches as well. We have armored polar bears, who's not just Yorick Bernison but also a huge race of other bears who just follow him alone. Apart from all these people, we also have some people who can read a particular instrument that speaks only the truth. We have shamans who also affect the plot of the story in multiple instances, especially in the second book. There are even some ethereal and celestial beings which come across, and we also have angels. As a whole, this world is so rich and so unique, and it is very intricately woven. I can say that reading this series once is not enough in order to grasp all the nuances and intricacies of the series. Even I don't think that I've understood everything in the perfect way after reading the books just once. These books have great read value, and that is mainly because of the world building aspect that the author has just layered continuously on all the 3 books. Moving on to the writing, I can say that the writing is very traditionally formal, and I'll not suggest this series to any beginner out there. If you're a beginner reader, please don't try reading the His Dark Materials trilogy. Even though it is middle grade and suitable for all age ranges, I'd not suggest this to any beginner that wants to just start reading books. But if you want to start reading fantasy books and you've read some books in the past, this is highly suggestible because it is so easy to follow. Even though there are multiple things that are going on, just as I said in the world building part, they are so easy to follow and very easy to understand and grasp continuously. It's not like the author has to remind us everything that is happening in the next book from the previous book in order for us to understand everything coming together. It's just written in a really simple yet very detailed and intricate way that it is not jarring for us to finish. At the same time, it is very complex and huge in scope. Finally, talking about the pacing, I can say that the first book is very consistent in its pacing. It's not so fast, it's not so slow, and it just goes on in a perfect pace, which is not at all boring in any way. You'll be able to finish this book in like 2 or 3 days max. It will be that easy to read. The second book is super fast paced. I can say that only from the second book there are multiple aspects of the series that come into focus, and we focus on different worlds only from the second book. The first book actually happens in one single world, and in the second book we follow 2 to 3 different worlds, and in the last book all the worlds come together. So because of the introduction of different aspects inside the series, the second book is super fast paced. When it comes to the last book, I can say that the pace lags a lot there because within a single book the author tries to wrap up a lot of things. He does them in a really good way, but because of the fact that he has to handle so much in just a single book, it does affect the pace in multiple instances. But apart from that, the pacing of the entire series is not something which is problematic in any way, but it is consistent enough that you can binge the series as a whole. So overall, I rated the series 4 stars, and each and every one of the individual books also were 4-star reads for me. I can say that my most favorite of all the 3 books is The Subtle Knife, which is the second book, and my second most favorite is Northern Lights, which is the first book, and my least favorite of the 3 is the last one, which is the Amber Spyglass. Even though this wrapped up things really well, I think that it could have been split up into 2 books so that it would have been even more consistent. You can just see that the first 2 books are very short in length and the last one is so big. That was my only issue, and there is nothing that is wrong about the series as a whole at all. Now I just want to go forward and read the sequel series for this one called the La Belle Sauvage, which starts with the first book, The Book of Dust, and the second book is the Commonwealth Republic. I think it came out in 2019 or 2020. I actually own the first book, which is the Book of Dust, but I have not started it yet. I think I will start reading it sometime in the near future itself. And I also want to watch the second season of the HBO show that is already out now. So yes guys, that's all for my spoiler-free review of the His Dark Materials trilogy by Philip Pullman. If you found this video useful in some way or the other, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.